Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your host, Deion Amade. Semifinals will be played in both divisions of 6A this week. In 6A1, Union will play Edmond Santa Fe, and Jenks will be facing off against Owasso. We'll also look back on how the Midwest City Bombers advanced to the 6A2 semifinals by knocking off the Booker T. Washington Hornets. Stillwater and Choctaw will be facing off in the other 6A2 semis. A little later, we'll have my takeaways from the Midwest City victory last week. But right now, the Jenks Trojans quarterback, Stephen Kittleman, will join us after his performance last week, throwing for 3 touchdowns and nearly 300 yards as the Jenks Trojans advance to the 6A1 semifinals with a score of 63-16 over Norman North. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Everybody knows in these parts when it's Oklahoma playoff time, the Jenks Trojans, they dye their hair and bleach their hair blonde. And now tell me, if you don't know, you don't have to answer, and we can just move on and we can do our own research. But how did this whole bleach hair come about?
Yeah, I don't know really the details of it all, but I know the tradition started back in, I want to say the 90s. A group of guys wanted to do it for the playoffs, and it carried on each year.
So how does it go? Do you have to be on varsity, or does the whole student body do it, or is it just the football players? Or JV gets involved? What's the deal?
Yeah, it's our whole team. Everyone buys into it. JV, varsity, whatever level you are. We have a few students that also bleach their hair, so some of them get in the action too. So it's fun.
So how does this even come about? Like, who's doing the bleaching? Like, is it moms? Is it other students that are girls? Do y'all all go to the salon together? Like, what's the deal here?
It depends. There's definitely some salon gatherings, I guess you could say. This year, I guess it was a little different because COVID. We couldn't all be in the same room. But we'll go to different salons. A lot of moms do it, and then there's also some cheerleaders that like to do it too.
I bet. So speaking of the whole COVID and how that's come about, I mean, talk to us. How has that situation been for you personally in your time in 2020 playing football during a pandemic?
Yeah. Gosh, when thinking about it, it's your senior year. You're coming into it and you want it to be everything you've ever hoped for. And then this kind of rolls around and just kills every one of your plans, I guess you could say. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. This group of seniors, we've been through a lot over the past few years, and we're used to dealing with adversity. This program is used to dealing with adversity. So it's just kind of another punch we had to roll with. And it's going to help us down the road in our lives besides football. So we're just fine with it.
You as an individual, what's been the toughest thing? And this could be, in football, this could be outside of football. What's been the toughest thing to battle through during this pandemic?
Yeah, I think the toughest thing is just everything's out of norm. Every single day, something else happens. One day we could have our whole team. The next day, I could have 30 of my brothers sitting at home for 14 days. And so I think being able to adapt every single day is probably the hardest part, and kind of missing out on some opportunities like position dinners on Tuesday nights, not always being able to have a team dinner together. Things like that are kind of hard.
So as far as you as a leader, what are some of the things that you've done to try to step up during these unusual circumstances?
Mm-hmm. Definitely just keep having the same attitude every single day I come here, making sure the guys around me know that everything's going to be all right, and we're going to make the best of this situation. I remember back in March and May, when we didn't even know we were going to have a season, I was just trying to be the best encourager for our guys and being very optimistic in how I go about my words that I use with them, being very positive.
I feel you. So is that the type of leader that you consider yourself to be, kind of a vocal leader or more of a lead by example type of a dude?
Honestly, I would say both. I love to be vocal, but I will lead by example just as much. I think my character is a big attribute of mine. I come with the same attitude every single day. I always have a smile on my face. Always want to get better and want to push the guys around me.
So where does that come from? The whole, stay positive, keep a smile on your face. Is that something that you've learned throughout your years, or something that it was taught to you by your parents or, a coach or somebody?
it was definitely taught to me at an early age. My mom and dad told me that you can win a lot of people over with your character and your integrity, for that matter. Be kind to everyone, push others to be better. And then when I learned that as the years went on and I went through adversity, I already knew how to handle that. And so I can, thank my parents a lot for that.
Speaking of your parents, this is the portion of the show where we get to, acknowledge the parents and the siblings and stuff. So any shout outs you want to get out the way? Who's the parents? Give mom and dad some love.
Yes. My mom, Kay Kittleman, and my dad, Whit Kittleman. And I think my biggest fan is my sister. She, after every single game, she points out all my mistakes. So I can say she's my biggest critic too. But that's Gracie.
So younger or older?
Older.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So
hard on me.
So what has that relationship been like through growing up, having an older sister that's, in your words, kind of hard on you?
She, we're best friends. We're so close. And that's why I think she can be so hard on me. For example, I'll get home from a game. And my mom will be like, "Great game, Stephen," and all that. And she'll be like, "Oh, what about those three incompletions, Stephen, and the interception?" And she'll remind me of all she keeps me humble. That's a good way to put it.
Stephen Kittleman is a steady hand at the wheel of the Jenks offense. That's earned him a uniform number that's become a Trojan tradition. Jaden Patrick will be joining us next week. He's coming up big for the Trojans this year, and they'll need another good performance from him on Friday night when the Trojans take on the Owasso Rams in the 6A1 semifinals. Ford High School Weekly will be right back after this. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking to Jenks quarterback, Stephen Kittleman. Talk us back to the beginning. Let's get to know, Stephen Kittleman, the player before all the glory at Jenks High School. How did you start playing the game?
Yeah, growing up, I always had a ball in my hand, whether I was football, basketball, baseball, golf club, you name it. I love sports, and my parents, they never pushed me to love that. They never told me which sports I had to play, which sports I couldn't. They encouraged me through them all. They made me work hard, and they said, if you're going to do it with everything you have. And they've been my biggest supporters. They've been my rocks through it all.
So what other sports do you play?
I also play basketball here at Jenks. And then I play golf. I used to play competitively, but I kind of dropped it off. But my dad and I still try to play every weekend.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, that sport will make you so frustrated, but
Yes.
Sometimes it's a blast. Just ask Dustin Johnson.
Exactly. 20 under. Let's go.
Man, whew, that guy can play. But all right, so now that we know, what is it? So have you always grown up in Jenks?
Yes, I've gone to Jenks since I was in pre-K. So I've been here for around 13 years.
So what's that been like when you're playing with the same, correct me if I'm wrong, the same group of guys ever since you were somewhat born into this sport?
Yeah, I've been around, I don't even know how many of my teammates, probably over 10 of them. We played together since we were in first grade with Mighty Mites. And we always grew up coming to the games on Fridays. And we just thought those guys were superstars. And that's what we always dreamed of, playing for Jenks. And now that it's happening, it's, a dream come true. And we love playing for Jenks just because of that tradition and because we get to be role models for the younger kids.
I feel you. So with that being said, do you feel like it's that much more important to you guys since you guys have, grown up watching this, watching this school and wanting to be a part of it so bad, and now it's your opportunity, to carry on the torch?
Yes, I think we all kind of feel that responsibility that, at Jenks, we win championships. And that's what we were taught all throughout grade school. That's what's in our blood. So it's so important for us to bring gold ball back to Jenks this year.
So with that being said, and you can answer this honestly, how much pressure is it on you guys, during the season and during playoff times, especially knowing the winning tradition that Jenks has, to perform and to win every game and, try and go get that gold ball like you've been taught to do for so long?
I'm going to be honest. There's pressure there. No doubt about it. We haven't won in 4 years, and that doesn't happen in Jenks, Oklahoma. So there's pressure there, but I don't think our guys feel it. I think we all do our best under pressure. Like I said, that's what we were taught to do. We were taught to win, and we're going to perform our best when it's needed.
So with that being said, I mean, elephant in the room, the topic of Jenks not winning a gold ball in 4 years and you being a senior, trying to leave this great institution the way you found it with championships. How much do you feel you guys are not wanting to do that, but are obligated to do that?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's obviously pressure in that situation, but it's what we do. We're not going to shy away from it. We're not going to shy away from anyone. We're going to take every obstacle head on, just play our game, and I think we'll be just fine.
Is there anything individually that you think you need to do to go ahead and get those wins during the playoffs and try to get that championship?
Yeah, individually, I need to be very sound from start to finish in each game. I can't want to like take shots early. I got to take what defense gives me, be very mature in all my progressions, just be patient and trust in my guys.
With that being said, it kind of brought me to my next question. I've always wanted to know, I've been watching you play for a little bit. What kind of quarterback do you think you are? You more of the gunslinger, the game manager, or, what kind of quarterback do you think you are specifically?
If you look at my stats, a lot of people would probably say I'm more of a pocket passer. But in my opinion, I love to sit in the pocket and throw the ball. That's what I do. But at the same time, I love to run the football just as much. And so if you bring pressure, I'm going to be able to escape it. And, I'm going to be able to run a little bit too. And I like to be competitive and throw it and run it.
So now here's the true answer to that question. Now, as far as the quarterbacks that you've grown up watching, give me two quarterbacks, okay? One that you grew up watching, admiring, and loved his game, and a quarterback that you love to watch right now. It can be at the college level or at the NFL. If you got to shoot, just give me two.
Growing up, my parents are going to not like me for this one. Johnny Manziel was my favorite QB to watch. When he was at Texas A&M, I watched every one of his games. I thought he was just, the most exciting guy. His character wasn't the best, but he made plays over and over and over, and he was just a competitor. Now, I love to watch Drew Brees. I can kind of appreciate the game a little bit more now that I'm more knowledgeable about it. And watching Drew, he's kind of a shorter guy, 5'11", 6 foot like me, and he can stand in the pocket, make every throw. And I really like his game on the field, and his character is great off the field.
Man, you're starting to make me feel old, man. I was playing when Johnny Manziel was out there running around for Texas A&M. I can remember that. God, man, now you're saying can you believe this? Now kids are saying they used to look up to – yeah, man, like help your boy out. But no, the Drew Brees reference, and that's something that I see a lot in your game. And you know what? It kind of got me to thinking. I mean, a question I've always wanted to ask one of you guys that puts on the number 9, just like Drew Brees over there for the Jenks Trojans. What's up with that tradition? Is that something that you guys you've always known, or is that something that the coach gives you, or is something that you pick?
So that is a player-led. That's a player-led deal right there. It started with Mark Ginther. He was a stud, and then passed it down to guys like Sawyer Cole Morgan, who actually he used to come to my house when I was a kid. His sister took care of me, so that's a cool relationship there. And then Cooper Nunley wore it, Ian Corwin, and now I guess I wear it too. We think it's a cool tradition. And there's a lot of history behind that number.
So is it your favorite number, and is it the number you grew up wearing, or is it something that was given to you when you got into high school?
So growing up, I wore number 3 actually. And I did that because of Brandon Whedon. I'm a big OSU fan. I probably should have said him earlier for you. But
that would have still made me feel old.
But I wore number 3 because of Brandon Whedon. Wore that all through grade school. And then when I got into high school, my freshman year, I wore number 10, sophomore year, number 5. And I finally got to wear number 9. So it's grown on me a lot. I think now it's my favorite number, definitely.
Hey man, 3 times 3 is 9. So I mean, it's just 3 times better. So was there some kind of ceremony? Is it passed on to you, or is it what's the situation? Because it's the strangest thing for me, but it's something that I think is really cool. The fact that the starting quarterback for Jenks always wears number 9. I mean, what is it? How is it given to you, or do you just raise your hand and say, "I'm going to wear that number and it's mine, coach"?
I agree with you. I think it's super cool too. But there's no ceremony or anything like that. It's kind of a little unspoken agreement with everyone else on the team that, you know, if you're going to start at quarterback, you're going to wear the prestigious number 9, whatever you want to call it. But no ceremony, nothing special like that. It's just a number.
Stephen Kittleman and the Trojans have put themselves in a strong position to go for that gold ball this year. We'll see if they can knock off the defending champions, the Wausau Rams. In September, Deshaun Brown made a big-time play blocking the punt of Booker T. Washington's punter and covering up for a touchdown. The Yellow Jackets will face Stillwater tonight, and they'll need more big plays like that from Deshaun Brown if they're going to want to advance. We have more Ford High School Weekly coming up. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. Last Friday, Steve Marshall and I covered the 6A2 quarterfinal matchup between the Booker T. Washington Hornets and Midwest City Bombers in Midwest City.
Started off with what was going to be a close game. Certainly Booker T. Washington had the early advantage, Deion, but Midwest City said, nope, not at our place, not at our house, and they got everything together and came back and got the victory.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, starting off the game, like you mentioned, the pick 6 by King looked like they were going to be able to, you know, put up some points and control this game, especially the way they were running the football in the first quarter. But I don't know what was said on the sideline or what kind of adjustments were made on the Midwest City side, but the Bombers took control of this game. They grabbed that momentum and did not let it go. Kudos to them on both sides of the ball. Defense putting out a shutout, and then offense putting up some points.
All right, we had plenty of big plays in this contest as we take a look at our highlights from this evening.
Yeah, there were a lot of them too, especially from that Midwest City side, but this was not one. Booker T taking it in for their only score of the game. King with the interception, man-to-man defense steps in front of it and takes it to the house. And right here, another interception, big-time turnovers, making a big-time appearance in this game. That time Wilson for the interception in the end zone, in the red zone. Then Mikael Smith making them look easy, picking up that touchdown. And then our player of the game, Mr. Irvin Jr., taking that touchdown in for a touchdown. And right here, showing off some highlights from the defense. They were in that backfield all night chasing down Boone and making his night uncomfortable. Take a look at it right here, coming off the backside. You can see Seabash coming, number 26, offensive line, couldn't find him. And look at this, one more time, deep down the field, right before halftime. He finds Young. That one was our Cox play of the game, and you can see why. Impressive touchdown from Irvin, just letting it fly. And this one, going up high, Mr. Smith for the touchdown.
And, of course, that win will catapult Midwest City into the semifinals. They'll take on the number 1 team in 6A2, the Bixby Spartans. Next week, the other contest will feature Stillwater versus Choctaw.
Hey, the Bombers will need that tenacious defense and that explosive offense tonight when they face off against the Bixby Spartans in the 6A2 semis. Ford High School Weekly continues with my takeaways from the Booker T. Washington Midwest City game. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. After an 0-4 start, Union and their Arkansas commit AJ Green have won 6 in a row to get to the 6A1 semis, where they're going to be facing Edmond Santa Fe and their speedy wide receiver, Talon Shetron. for a berth in the championship game. Takeaway number 1. I heard somewhere that defense wins championships. Well, defense moved Midwest City one step closer to a championship Friday night. With an early 7-0 lead, BTW was driving for a second score when Brian Wilson Jr. stepped up with an end zone interception.
Fade to the corner and intercepted by Midwest City.
Great coverage on the outside by number 5, Brian Wilson Jr.
The Bombers turned that into a touchdown and never really looked back. They held the Hornets scoreless the rest of the way. Defense gives you an opportunity to win a championship. Takeaway number 2. The Bombers may have their own version of Kyler Murray. Sophomore D'Angelo Irvin Jr. may not be the biggest quarterback you'll ever see, but he sure plays big. Friday night, he had a couple of nice connections with Oklahoma State commit Mikhail Smith. The first was a 41-yard rainbow to get the Bombers on the board. The second was a 19-yarder early in the third quarter that seemed to cement the Bombers' victory.
Now throwing for the end zone, got a receiver wide open again. It's Mikhail Smith. Touchdown Bombers.
But can he run though? Yes, he certainly can. How about a 27-yard scamper on the quarterback draw that gives Midwest City their first lead?
With the talent that D'Angelo Irvin has, you make it easy for him when you do stuff like that.
By the way, he also found Artez Young behind the BTW secondary for a 79-yard touchdown just before the half that put Midwest City firmly in the driver's seat. I'd say he looks a little like Mr. Murray. And those are a couple of reasons why we're thankful for high school football this time of year. Check YurView.com/OK every day for highlights like these and replays of the Ford Game of the Week. And remember, guys, only the best in Oklahoma make it to Ford High School Weekly. So until next time, thank you for watching, and I'm your host, Deion Amade.